let's go on and hit them with the first topic right here. So our first one is Academy of Shawnee and the community sport. If you was able to watch the show this past Thursday, we had the coach of Shawnee on here, Coach Whitney Hanley. Rocked it, did a great job. She's the head coach of the Shawnee girls basketball team, and her story it kind of touched home of lack of community support. That school, if you don't know, is in the West End. It's on Market. Um, she was talking about having to use basically old equipment, old jersey warm up. This is the whole thing. Please go ahead and definitely check it out if you have not. My question, and I wanted to bring this up to the group, is like there's a lot of maybe mom and pops stores and different stuff like that, and actually community leaders that's actually born and raised in the West End. Uh, it's kind of disappointing that no one's stepping up. And when she brought up the basic, Central, which is really downtown, is the HBCU of the basically black colleges and like of the
Yep.
high school and getting the love compared to um, Shiny and other things. Uh, it's kind of sad. So basically, I wanted to bring this up so we can have a discussion about the community support. I mean, granted, we don't know who's donating. We don't know all this. We don't even know what their program has. But I think it's worth for a discussion about this. Um, Mark, what do you think?
So crazy. Me personally, I think it's almost like the locations of the schools. You understand what I'm saying? You got Central where they are, and you really have Shawnee smacked in the West End. So, me personally, I think it might be people who's just fearful to go that deep into the West End, to go down there and support, what I'm saying, that school or whatever, because Shawnee is smacked right there on Market. You know what I'm saying? We all grew up on Market. We know where it's at and stuff like that. A lot of people didn't grow up like we grew up.
Mhm.
So you might have a lot of people who's scared to go down there.
Yeah. But real quick,
But
Or
go
just
ahead.
unknown.
wait a minute, wait a
To
minute.
me, excuse me,
I'm sorry, wait a minute.
just unknown.
What I'm saying is also is that and we all know that you don't like checks you don't have to be living to support down there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
That
That's what I'm saying. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I get what you're saying or whatever, but a lot of people don't know nothing about Shawnee neither.
Hmm. And I think
They
a
might
lot
not
of
know
it
about Shawnee
also,
like we grew up in Shawnee. We know
right,
about
right.
Shawnee Park and how it is on Sundays and you ride through the parkway and all that stuff like that. A lot of people might not know about that. It's Central, and she made a great point with that. Central is the HBCU or whatever of high school. It's
Hmm.
the
And that's
black
what they
college. I
talk
mean,
about,
black high
though.
school.
Right, you got to see what they talk about. I mean, when they're talking about on news, they're talking about Central a lot. Sometimes Western gets mentioned. You don't hear a lot
Mm-hmm.
about Shawnee. So my thing is
Mm-mm.
that it is about that in terms of when you talking about the HBCU of the Louisville schools, you are talking about what is actually known, and Shawnee's not talked about a lot. So it's a big talk up. It's about involvement, but it's
Mm-hmm.
also in terms of when you're talking about schools, it's not just Central. It is Central, Shawnee, Western. I mean, you're talking
Western.
about all the schools in the West End.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it needs to be a lot of bit more media attention brought to the school. As far as like Academy of Shawnee, I know that they were known. I don't know if they're still known for the flight. They did have the flight program. I'm not really sure,
Hmm.
which was a wonderful program or is a wonderful program. So I
Aviation.
think
Yep.
a little bit more
Hmm.
media needs to be brought to Shawnee in order for it
Right.
to be as big as Central, Western, and schools of that nature. So.
Of course. Yes.
Sierra, you got anything?
Y'all made some great points. So we'll leave it at that.
I do want to get on also with that. It's you can want support and all this stuff, but like, what are you doing to get garnish that support? Like having the opportunity to actually reach out to a lot of these schools, the AD department stuff like that. A lot of these schools don't have, maybe they just only have a football account. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
or maybe they don't have a girls' basketball, they have the boys' basketball, stuff like that. So my thing is that sometimes you do have to do the legwork, like she said, like Coach Whitney was basically like, hey, I got to do this, I got to do that, and all this kind of stuff. So we know that the budgeting, we know all that stuff is different, and and like Mark said, you got the fear factor, and Dee's saying like the media's, not out there like Shannon talking about. Great point. My thing is the aviation is huge. It's always been huge, but how many people know about that still? And
They
that
don't really
Mm-hmm.
talk about it.
no, they don't.
It's not talked about because it's not talked about. Like I said, when they talking about the schools in the West End, and we talking about really, to be quite honest, I mean Central's West End, but it's not the West End.
Right.
I mean, saying so it's.
Facts.
I mean, so you're not talking about it. You're not talking about Shawnee. That's by Shawnee Park. That's about the Western Parkway. It's Shawnee High School. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a big talk up that needs to happen. And as Shannon mentioned, I mean, who's talking about the aviation program? That's big. I mean,
Huge.
that's aviation school. Let's talk about it. Let's get kids involved. There's many of us kids that's in our community that's of the African American descent, people of color who want to learn about aviation. So can we talk that up?
Right. Right. And you don't
Mm-hmm.
hear it, and that's a shame. I
No,
mean,
you don't.
that should be talked about each school year. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a very important. Cause like you said, pilots, all kinds of stuff like that, and also can lead
Yeah.
to
I mean, black balance we
police
have. I mean, like,
like
and
that.
then it's like when you talk about it, how often do we hear about it? Because I'm not gonna say it's not talked
Yeah.
about it, but I mean, I don't think the media's covering it.
No.
Right.
No. No.
Mm-mm.
Well, before we wrap it up, big time. You know what I'm saying? All the mom and pops and different stuff. If you ever get to hear this, and we'll definitely talk about Academy of Shawnee like more than this week, because definitely want to support big time. Because I know
Mm-hmm.
people in the West End are not. You ain't got to be in the West End to support. You can. It's people who live here that support Ballard and stuff like. You ain't got to be in West End.
Right.
You know a school is in need, a school that needs help. You can do that. It's not. You don't have to be a graduate of Shawnee. You to feel that, hey, this is not right. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Coach Whitney for that hell of an interview.
Mm-hmm.
Big time. We thank you, and we'll definitely holler back. So going to the next topic.